Yeah, man. What's
There
up?
he is, the Taskis.
What's going on with Simply Create, man?
Simply, I can't do that, so I always leave Sam to do that.
He always does ZC, not SC, by mistake.
And then I know that I've done it wrong, so then I'm like, hi, Sarah. Thank you everybody for joining. It's a random one on Instagram, but we actually have planned this for a little while, so
Yeah.
it's just we haven't done any preempting of look, come and join us. Sorry about that. So anyone who's jumped on,
It's almost like every time we say
what's up?
Every time we say let's do like 30 minutes of prep before we do the podcast, it's all technically something always goes wrong. And we always fix
it. Turned up.
Yeah.
And it was like, where is it?
Where's the one button that makes it all work? It's just like, no, not today, sorry.
That literally happened. We've been trying to prep for ages, but we're just jumping into it anyway. So we're live on Instagram now, but the recording will go up on our YouTube channel in the next week or so, as soon as we can get it over and get it uploaded. Again, it will be in this raw form, so if you're watching it now, thank you, but you can always go and watch it again. So just so everybody knows the format that we've tried, and we're still kind of, as you can tell, working stuff out. Sam and I are going to try and talk once a month, once every other month, about some key topics around Simply Create's core values, which is to inspire people, to help them be creative, and help them after that be innovative and work out how they can kind of push things forward. Businesses or people, we all do kind of projects. And this is what we call the Simply Create scrapbook. There you go. Look at that. Time with these little.
To start that one in there.
So it's just us two really chatting. It might go off on tangents. It normally does. But we feel like sometimes we do say some things that might be helpful.
I mean, no. You say tangents, but I think we do pretty well in actually always bringing it back to the point. There's never been a time where it's like, what was we talking about? Like there was what we were talking about. Yeah, I think we keep it relatively structured and organised. But there are the moments where I'm just like, this might go off on a tangent, but we always bring it back. So.
And the reason we normally go live on YouTube and we're going live on Instagram is because we also want you to input to us. So write us a comment, ask us questions, let us know what you think about the topics. We'll then talk about those questions. So if you ask any questions or whatever, we'll put them in. And then obviously you'll be a part of that podcast as well. So... You know, it's all about opinions and questions and I think it was the last one we talked about networking. We had quite a few comments, didn't we? And people kind of firing in about what they liked, what they didn't like, what they were trying to do, and that obviously then takes us down different avenues for the podcast, which I think makes it, and it is, in my opinion, I don't know if anybody else agrees, but it's actually something a little bit different that I don't see many people doing with podcasts, because they're normally just having a conversation one-on-one, or they're talking about stuff. Having input in the moment by other people is quite, I think, can be quite...
Yeah, I don't think they do it live in the same respect that we're doing it right now, but I think sometimes it's because people... Well, okay, so if you get a big enough following, sometimes you get trolls. You get trolls like flooding the chats. However...
You're always going to get them.
Yeah, but you can just ignore them. That's
what I mean. Pick out the ones that are,
So I don't see why I don't see more of the big guys do that. But maybe it's just a question of timing. Like maybe they can only do it 2 a.m. just because of, that's where they've got free time and no one's going to be...
True.
But yeah.
Well, you say no one. The clock never stops now. Okay, so what we're going to start talking about, and we're going to kick this episode off with, is all about getting started. And there's a reason that's kind of the theme. One, we've just finished kind of January. I know we're kind of almost halfway into February, but we finished January, and both myself and Sam took up a kind of challenge we set ourselves. It was not a formal challenge, but it was all about starting something or working with the theme of getting started. So it kind of works. And we want to talk about what it's like when you have an idea. Maybe you want to decorate a room. Maybe you want to do your garden, whatever it might be. You want to do more of something, but you can't get that first. You can't take that first step, or you struggle with that first step. And we want to kind of talk about that first bit and getting going before you kind of go into, because everyone always has that bright idea, right? But then there's so many stages before that bright idea. Like, I want to do this. I want to, one that I used to hear all the time is, I really want to go traveling. Yeah. Great. But there's actually loads of steps you need to do, right?
Yeah. It's kind of like, See, I don't have a car, but I got a motorbike. But it's if you get the engine started, but it's just like, what do you call it when you twist the key, but the engine just doesn't
Ignition.
quite tick? Yeah, but it doesn't.
Oh.
Is it like it's sort of like, so you know when it goes, I don't know. Yeah, that noise.
Like that.
But it doesn't actually kick in.
Sorry, back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that called? It's like is it ticking over or something? Or?
Ticking over, yeah, that's it. When your car ticks over, yeah.
When your car ticks over, so it feels like that's
That's a
like
great analogy.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just you just got to find that like spark that just gets the whole thing going, you know.
And then obviously and using another analogy is that when people start and get a false start, how do you then not get out of the race because you had that false start and you were like, I got off to a great, and then you have a bit of a setback, you have to reset, and then getting going again is sometimes just as difficult. So right, we're going to talk to you about our projects first, what we've been doing and what we've been working on, and then we'll kind of open it up. And obviously if you've got any questions about anything, but in particular a project or things that you're trying to get going or starting, we've got Everything is great by the Running Dad. How about you? Yeah, all good here. As you can see, we're firing away. So Sam, you start. Sir. Tell everyone what you plan to do, what you actually did, and why you were doing it.
Okay, so so originally I had 2 or 3 different plans of, I could do this or I could do that. So that was one of the problems I actually had, was just deciding which thing to go with. One was, which is what I did eventually, was there's a special 3D program called ZBrush, which is really cool for making 3D sculpture stuff. So if you go to my Instagram page, you'll see just a few snapshots of me, of very weird 3D depictions of my face. And that was made in a special piece of software called ZBrush. And there were other project ideas about things like, I don't think it was going to be a thing. I was going to copy you, which was doing I'll let you tell them what you were going to do, but I wasn't going to do what you were going to do. And I was going to do something graphic design related, but I thought, well, I'm going to be doing that in my everyday working anyway. So, so I went with the ZBrush self-portrait sculpture. And I decided to do that because I have a massive love for 3D, and I don't think I incorporate enough 3D in my everyday artwork. And I wanted to see if I could just wanted to put myself into the more 3D space, just to get myself used to it, so I can get like real production value out of what I'm doing. So the next time I do a 3D sculpt, for example, no, I'm not going to do 3D sculptures for like social media posts, like that would be ridiculous. But the whole idea of, so if Ray says to me, we need to make like 7 social media posts. Right now I'd say, well, I'm probably going to make all of those in Illustrator or Photoshop. I want to be able to say, well, I could make a very quick 3D animation in Blender, just quickly, model it, texture it, render it. Model it, texture it, animate it, render it. And then, that could turn into like a bit of a content that could be recycled for like months on end. So that sense of production value, where I can say, do you know what, I could quickly make something in 3D for Mr. Mence has just joined us. What's up, man? Yeah, so sorry, like I said, just get myself into the 3D environment again. And so it was, what was the question? It was what you chose, why you chose it, and did you do it in the end?
Yeah, and how did you get on with it?
So I was a bit bad. One of the problems, there's 31 days in January, and I got to 17 and a half. But that's because basically the last 2 weeks of January were very, very busy for me. One of them was organising like a big birthday bash for myself and get some friends over from uni.
Happy birthday. Everyone wish Sam on the live now. Happy birthday. Come on. Everyone deserves a belated happy birthday.
And I'm going to be one of those guys who cliche it. I don't consider it getting older. I consider it levelling up. And having and +1 to wisdom as well for you D&D. No, exactly.
On behalf of Sam and I, we just want to say a massive thank you for listening. If you are enjoying it and finding that we're helping in any way, then please let us know and show support by subscribing, commenting, liking. Those are the actions that help us to continue to grow and develop the podcast. Also, if you have any suggestions, questions, or topics that you would like us to discuss, then just drop us a comment or get in touch. Okay, that's enough of all of that. We'll get back to it now. +1 to wisdom.
+1 to wisdom.
And without railroading you, because you didn't know I was going to ask you this, and I hope you don't mind me asking you this, because sometimes people like to keep their goals. But how does that go to the bigger picture of what you want to achieve in life? Because you've told me what you'd really like to do is you'd like to create a certain something. And how does that link to your bigger goal, which I think is really important?
So I'm going to be creating a kick-ass video game at some point. Gee! And so again, just getting into the habit of just get comfortable with 3D in general, but also because I'm probably going to put this onto like a console or a PC, and like that level of 3D sculpture, that level of detail in games these days, it's required. It's almost native nowadays. You can't how do I put it? It's not required, but most artists should know how to do it. You can make beautifully simple looking video games, so in terms of making it look good and making it work great. Thanks, Mr. Mentz, for your birthday wishes. So really, like I said, it was just a way of getting myself used to working in 3D in general. But then, get myself used to working 3D more often, but then also getting a higher level of experience making higher production pieces. So now, once I finish that self-portrait, I'll actually do like a full body of myself. So some of you have seen the slightly psychopathic photos of just the front of my face and the side. It looks like a mugshot for the police, right? But what I'm also going to do is I'm then going to do like a full body photo. So I'm going to have to wear it like a pair of my long johns or something, and like all my thermals, and then do like a special T-pose. And so in order to make like a 3D, like a full body 3D, and then once that's done, I might see if I could put myself into like a bunch of outfits in 3D. So I was
going to say, then you're going to play dress up, aren't you?
Not dress up, but
virtual dress up. You're going to give yourself clothes.
Virtual dress up, actually, yeah. So I could make myself a Witcher, for example, or a Jedi, or whatever it is I want. I could do like 2 or 3 of those.
Notice he didn't just say like a train driver, and he went Jedi and Witcher. That's what he went. Straight out.
I'm not going to apologise for being a savage. I'm sorry, I won't do it.
Why? Can you be a hobbit though?
I could. I absolutely could. Like, this is
Samwise the Brave.
Samwise the Brave. But I'd have a beard and bald as well, so they'd just be like, the other Samwise? What's going on?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Great.
I could model myself with hair as well. That'd be so. Oh, it's so bad.
Mohawk all the way.
Oh, absolutely. The most outrageous.
Just the little, not like a really big one. Like the really thin ones, like a Mr. T one.
Yeah, totally. I love it. Or dreadlocks or something. Anyway.
Oh yeah. No, I was going to say. Well, I think that's really getting started. Sam's working on something that is about what he wants to do in the bigger picture, but it isn't the bigger picture. So he's not just working on creating the game. He's working on understanding and developing skills and knowledge so that when game time comes, he has a better rounded understanding. And I think people try to go sometimes for the big thing straight away and then get a bit disheartened when they don't get there. And it's not I don't think it's as simple as that. There are going to be times when you have to learn things and just know things to help you along the way, rather than it's not necessarily going to be the thing you do that is going to be the thing you create, if that makes sense. It's not going to be the practical application straight away all the time.
Big time.
So with mine was a 31-day January challenge, very similar to Sam's. And mine was all about animation. So as well as me using a lot of the time either Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Premiere Pro, I had started to use Adobe After Effects, but I wasn't using it as well as I had hoped. And the way that Premiere Pro and After Effects can integrate is brilliant. Just Adobe got that down. So I just thought, January is a time to learn it, to get, a bit more into it. But But I gave myself also some rules and some structure. So as well as it being 31 days, which I didn't actually achieve, I only did 22. But, I'm not going to beat myself up. That's 22 more hours of a minimum. It wasn't an hour, definitely not. But a minimum of 22 posts that I did that I hadn't done anyway. I gave myself some branding guidelines. So I had to always use black, white or orange. That was it. They were the only colours I could use. I always had to have an element of animation in, and the thing that I created always had to be on the theme of getting started. So it was to try and inspire people, hence coming back to the kind of Simply Create thing, to kind of get started. So I did ones about, I can't even remember ones now, about, like getting your idea off the ground, puzzle pieces, a seed growing, and I had to work that out. What I found actually was the concept is just as much a part of the animation as the actual physical making the animation. So if I'd have said, I can just animate anything today, I could have got up some text and played around with animation and had something animated. It might not have looked good or whatever, but having some of the guides, the branding, and the structure of, why is this on theme of getting started, made me animate in a particular way or for a particular reason, rather than just generally like animating text in. Or genuine, because there's one that I did fail that came up loads of times. Now, if that had been any other word, it would have just been pop-ups or whatever. But because it was about failing, it was the same word repeated over and over and over again. Because obviously I believe in that, failure is part of the learning and growth and all that kind of stuff. But if it was just anything, I could have done any kind of zoom ins or whatever I wanted to do. So and then that is part of my big, again, going towards where we got to with Sam, the bigger picture is to level up, as Sam even mentioned before, my video editing, and part of that is being able to integrate graphics and video together. And the other part of that is, for business terms, is that I want to create a few animated graphics that hopefully people will want to buy, download, whatever you want to call it, as a way of, putting some of my work out there in different ways and making it easier for other people to incorporate as well. So again, it was a little thing, but for a bigger reason.
So, I mean, that, I'm about to ask a question which I think is almost sort of teetering on what you've just said, but how do you think, like, is there like a very big project where this is going to come in handy? So, I mean, you asked me about my 3D stuff because you were talking about how. The very big project is making Simply Create a company that gets given a brief and it can execute on whatever that brief is for the client, and incorporate both animation and video and animation together. So it can be a documentary form video style, videography, or it can be an animated storytelling, or it can be the combination of the two. And, that is all, it is part of the business growth and development, definitely. So is there a bigger project in mind? I would say probably not, but it's a skill that I want to be able to incorporate every day into the company. So it is a bigger need. Now that you've done, was it 22 hours that you said?
Well, it was 22 posts. It was definitely more than 22 hours, but yeah.
You're absolutely right. So 22 posts. Now that you've
it was 22 hours.
Now that you've done 22 posts, and so many hours, how ready do you feel? And also, at what point did you feel ready to say, do you know what? I've done quite a bit of this now. Now, if someone said to me, "Can you do a quick animation of this?" Do you? And if so, how soon did you start feeling like, I can do this in terms of production?
There's definitely a feeling of what's the feeling that you're never good enough.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that After Effects is a beast. Now, I have only scraped the surface, even though I already had a knowledge before I started this project. I already had a good knowledge and a good foundation, actually accredited with Adobe for it. But yeah, anyways. So I already had that. And so I haven't even scratched the surface, without a doubt. But given a brief, there are things I know I could do. So if anyone came up to me and said, blah, 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 I need this created and it needs to be animated, I would be comfortable with opening up After Effects and going for it. And it wouldn't necessarily being able to mess around with certain things. So there's a whole 3D element in After Effects that I haven't really touched on yet. There's lighting and camera angles and stuff that you can play around with. But what I also think is, I'm confident enough now to answer the question, is that, and this is kind of a bit of a live plug for what's coming up, is one of the gifts that I'm thinking of giving away for the February competition on YouTube is I'm going to create someone their own bespoke animation as the prize.
Oh,
so,
yes.
So I kind of did a poll on Twitter that asked what prizes. I love to do giveaways. The problem with giveaways is that I never know what people want me to give away. So I asked, do you want a t-shirt? Do you want a takeaway? Do you want
socks?
A voucher? No, it wasn't a voucher. Although I love socks, I love socks. A voucher or your own bespoke custom animation. And obviously, that's the biggest prize in terms of if you go anywhere else for that, that's the biggest money. But people have said, yeah, that. So, I'm definitely gonna, give away, and which means that someone will then say, well, this is my company or this is what I want, and then I'll create it for them. So I'm comfortable enough that if someone says that to me, I can do it. If it kind of answers your question, but kind of not.
No, I think it does. I mean, it almost sounds like you're saying that you're just adding another tool to your arsenal, another arrow to your quiver, as it were. Like,
and I think you'll probably potentially agree with me. Although, again, with the 3D stuff you were doing, your rendering and is it ZBrush? Is that right? And
that's right. Yeah.
Those kind of programs. Is that not only do you probably feel like you don't know everything yet, or that you're not good enough, but you also feel like there's things that you do that you've picked up some speed on.
Yes, certainly, absolutely. I was going to say that is probably one of the biggest benefits is just setting yourself one of these kind of challenges once every month, because and actually I went to a quick meetup with a whole bunch of other ZBrush artists. They had their own quick projects, and one of my first questions was, now that you've finished this particular project, because they were presenting some of these, I said to them, what is it that you've learned from doing this project that is going to have you getting quicker out of the gate when you do this a second time? And I'm not going to go through the examples they said, but they had like so many things now that I've done this project, the next time I start this again, I know I'm going to be able to shave so many hours in terms of preparation
time saving,
but
and
also
process.
But also time planning as well. They know a lot more about what's much more of a realistic timeline for their deadlines, and especially as a artist in as a production person, especially if you're freelance, the sooner you know how quick an accurate deadline will be, the much better you'll feel, but also I think the more positive outlook your client will have. So if someone says, would you recommend this artist, aka me, they'll say, yeah, because they did it on, because they got it in on time. Like, it's almost like these days, it's almost like, who does that anymore? Gets it in on time,
Yeah. No, I agree. I think there's a whole bit of process that you learn. And also it helps if you're running a business, a freelance or any other type, it helps you with costing as much as,
Certainly.
People don't talk about it enough. If I turned around inexperienced and said, I can do an animation for you, it'll only be this amount, but actually it takes me double the amount of time because I wasn't experienced at it, I'm obviously losing money along the lines. Whereas now you probably can cost a little bit more accurately.
Absolutely.
Okay, so going back to the beginning of the project or throughout the project, tell me about actually getting started. So first of all, how was it day one doing it and sitting down and getting going? But also, how was it also like day 10 and then day 17 having to start the next bit or the next hour or whatever it is you were doing?
Well, I had the benefit that I've done this sort of stuff before, but the only thing that I have, I haven't done like 3D sculpture. Well, I've done a bit of 3D sculpture. So I do a lot of live streaming on Twitch under JS Tasker, so same as Instagram handle. So I'm doing 3D on and off quite often, but doing a high resolution self-portrait sculpture, I haven't done that for years. In fact, the reason why I thought of it is because when I was at university, that was one of the assignments you do is self-sculpture of yourself. And a lot of my stuff has been doing low. I'm going to throw a word out here, like low poly asset creation and stuff like that.
Lost. Anyone else lost?
Yeah, so making like very basic shapes to go into a game engine and making them look nice. I haven't done a lot of high resolution work recently. So sorry, what was the question? Because
I was just saying about the like from day 1, day 10, and day 7.
Yeah.
What was it like actually starting whatever that day's task was?
So day 1 wasn't particularly difficult, but it is something I have done at least once. It felt like. Yeah, luckily I knew that I'd have to do quite a bit of preparation, so it's not like I just started and then I'm like, oh god, I need all of this. Like, I'd already taken the psychopath style photos of myself. I already knew that I was going to have those. I knew how I was going to import those into certain applications to use them. By day 10, do you know what? By day 10 and by day 17, I was absolutely loving it for two reasons. One was because when I was doing this on live stream, it was really enjoyable. I had a whole bunch of other 3D artists come and join me saying, oh, you're doing this is cool. And some people watched, and some people who were completely new to the game were just like, so what are you doing? And I'd walk them through the process of what I'm doing. And a lot of people were learning, and they were saying, wow, you know how to explain things really well. I was just like, yeah, I do. And so it was really cool community interaction. But then also I've got content that I can just take and use for later. So what I'd like to do nowadays is if I'm ever doing a commission 2D or 3D for anyone, and in fact over the past year I've been doing a lot more live streaming on Twitch because I like so Gary Vaynerchuk and you have always been telling me to document the process of your learning and what you're doing and this, that, and the other. So I'm getting a lot more used to just documenting my work process. Now for recent, for recent pieces, doing logo design for someone and then doing a book cover for someone else last year, I live streamed all of it and I was able to so when I was doing a book cover, I took 40 hours of live stream and I squashed it down to like 40 minutes. And it's a really cool fly through of doing the book cover design and creation and like final rendering. Like, so from start to finish doing a fly through, it was really fun to watch. And then it's also a really good bit of social media content for the client. But also I think the client really appreciates. And going to the most recent logo design work I did, the client really appreciated that she could literally just come onto the live stream and join in and watch what I was doing and also have a chat to me. And I know her quite well. She's a very dear friend of mine. And, so it was nice to catch up with her. And I think it was a couple of times where she'd just quickly tune in and she'd just be asking questions. And I would talk to her while I was working. So I was saying things like, so, why are you doing this? Why are you running this particular project? And it gave me a better understanding of the ethos of where the company's coming from, and ergo is able to help me in the design of the final logo design, the final product. And then I think that's
some of the people when getting started. Some people worry about the first step rather than just jump in and take the first step.
Yes.
They plan forever. So another thing, if I've got a good few friends that love the planning process, but actually the doing is where they fall down because they plan it almost step by step, but they haven't accounted for the fact of actually starting and doing and how long things actually take. So I'd say, it definitely plan something. So both us planned in slightly different ways. You'd already kind of pinched the idea from what you'd done at uni, if I'm right. And I'd already drafted my own brief of what I wanted to stay within. And then after that, I just went for it. And I think you were pretty much the same. But we were both fairly comfortable, which is probably the difference, with what we were going to do in terms of After Effects and ZBrush, etc. Whereas, what do you think the barrier is between getting started on something you don't know anything about?
Well, actually, do you know what? And that actually relates to what you've just said about you and me. We're doing things that are not relatively new to us. Like, so you might not have done motion design before. However, you've got the 2D skills. You've got the sort of the mindset of making things and posting things. So it's almost got you've got a level of comfort before you even get started, which will make you feel so much better. So, which relates to the question, what makes it easier to start? I mean, that's paraphrased what you've asked. I think what would make it easier to start? Did we do a 6-step post on this? Either we've done a 6-step post, or we should do a 6-step post on.
Or we've talked about doing a 6-step post and haven't actually produced the 6-step post, which is probably
the trick. So, I feel like I could dumb it down into 6. I could talk about it, but I feel like we could summarize it to 6 points. And the first one, which is screaming at me, is if you don't know where to get started, then absolutely ask someone who does.
Agreed.
And trust me, I can't give a percentage, but it feels like in this day and age, 80% of the people that you ask would love to talk to you, and they would love to give you their advice.
There is someone.
Where to start.
The first person might not know, but ask somebody else and somebody else.
Yeah, if you don't know how to do it, go and find someone who does. I guarantee you, someone's going to turn around like, yeah, sure, let me give you a hand. But then also
us for a start.
Us for a start.
I'm not saying we'll have all the answers, but if you are stuck and want to start something and you just want some input, please, hit either Sam up, me up, whatever, and just ask us. Do you know where I can do this? Because I tell you now, we'll both be happy to try and help.
I mean, the cool thing is you and I have actually got like a wider range of 2D and 3D and production value between the two of us. Like we've got like from photography all the way through to graphic design, all the way through to video production, all the way through to like 3D and After Effects and all the rest of it. So,
but even if you take something else, so I suppose it's kind of related, but somebody's asking me questions about producing their own T-shirts at the moment. Now, I wouldn't say I've done that, as in I've gone and got some T-shirts designed and sent to me, but I wouldn't say I'm an expert here. I wouldn't say that I design T-shirts all the time or anything like that. But because I've been through the process, I have some knowledge to give. Not loads. Just consider this. Don't do that. Think about things like that. Have you asked yourself these questions yet? After that, all right, I'm over now. I haven't really got anything else to add over to you. You might have to go to someone else, or I might know somebody else who has produced loads of that and just know someone who can. So the question isn't always that you're going to get the right answer back that you want, but you might get pointed in the right direction that you need to.
So what else could we do?
I think do, like literally, I know you say ask, but actually do something, as in and it kind of goes, and it's maybe 2 and 3, but do something that leans more to your comfort zone if that helps you. So if you don't really know where to start, but you're really good at, I don't know, writing, don't necessarily go straight into videoing.
Yeah, exactly.
Write your script first, or write what you would love it to look like, or write a review on somebody else's so you can get an understanding of, use your skills and strengths to start you off. I mean, I would never start writing because it's not my skill, but I would get a piece of paper and write and scribble notes and draw images, because I always work with images and diagrams of what things look like in my head, and that's how most of my ideas are started, because I jot it down. I literally don't go anywhere without a book. Literally.
Mr. Mentz is when it comes to t-shirt design is recommending Redbubble, which is a t-shirt.
Already got a Redbubble account. Yeah, all over it. Love that, Mr. Mentz. Nice. Yeah.
So one thing, another point that I'd add, like one of the 6, would be if I'm ever, especially with 2D stuff, if I ever think to myself, right, I want to make a concept art of just something, anything, or I just want to draw people, and if let's call it, if I want to make a drawing, the first thing that I will do, as you say, is do. The first thing that I do, when you've got that white canvas staring you in the face, and it's like almost quite daunting for some people, I literally fling colours and markings onto that white canvas just to get rid of some of that white space. I just fling bits, shapes, and just stuff on my graphics tablet anywhere, just to, as you say, literally throw yourself at it, throw yourself to get it started. So also, go on.
I think like, I know there's a massive fear with starting anything. Again, let's taking it away from design or anything we do. If you're going to start, I know the running dad was in here earlier, running, or if you're going to start anything, you want to start building your own car. I don't know, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
The first step is do. So make that first step to start. But I also think is that prepare that it is gonna go wrong. Like it's not gonna be the way you want it to be on your first go. If that happens, I would say it's a very minute percent that you get something right first time. Otherwise, it is a process. And as soon as you embrace that there's a process there, as soon as you embrace the fact that, hang on a minute, I'm going to do all these ideas. They're probably going to be a bit crap. And then I'm going to do some more and evolve those. And then they're going to be a little bit better. And then I'm going to actually pick 3 that I like. And then I'm going to work on those 3. And then I'm going to add this. And so long as you work that out, you'll know that you're going to mess up. You're going to fail. It's not going to be what you want first time round. But you're going to be learning and going through the process. So then next time you go through it, you're going to be that much quicker. You're going to be that much more relaxed with it. And you're just going to go, yeah, this, that, no, yes, that.
How about something to do with one point I feel like would be important is deciding, actually taking the SMART approach. So it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. Making sure that it's the right thing that you... So first of all, is it something that you really want to be doing? Second of all, is it in the area that you really want to be doing? So for example, let's say cooking. And then the second question is, you don't have to go and learn how to braise a piece of pheasant or something. What you could literally do is just like step 1, learn how to cook a lasagna or something. So
poach an egg.
Yeah, poach an egg. So the question, so it's like deciding that it's in the area you want to do, and then also making sure that you start relatively basic, so it's easier to approach.
Yeah.
I don't say
break it down to bite-sized chunk. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, exactly. I don't say to myself, I want to go and create a world-class, renowned illustration of some characters. I'll say, okay, I'll do some sketches and gesture posts, and then build it up from there. And on top of that, how much time deciding how much time this project of yours is worth, which is
definitely
is kind of intermingled with how important is this project to you realistically.
Well, that's it. We decided that was going through January, so that was a time frame. But you limited it kind of to an hour a day, didn't you? I think that's what you did. Yep. Whereas I just said I needed to create a post in a day. Now that could take me an hour or it could take me 3. At the beginning, it definitely took me a lot more time than it did towards the end. Once I had an idea, I could break down how I was going to animate that a little bit easier than when I was starting out. So yeah, definitely give yourself some time.
Yes.
What about what about when you hit that wall? So I would say that I really struggled at the beginning. I started fine, but I really struggled with what I could see in my head and could get down on animation. I then went into a great place where I was reeling them off 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 posts that I was like, yes. And then I got to the place where I wanted to do more and go to the next stage, but I hadn't had enough time to invest in that yet. Does that make sense? So I haven't gone down the 3D or the camera or the lighting angles yet because it wasn't in my time frame of January. So
yeah.
What would you say is when you hit the wall, are you just treating it like you're getting started again, or are you treating it like you've hit a wall?
Well, the first thing, let's see. Okay, I'm going to say something like 4 or 5 years ago, I would have reacted in a very different way. These days,
you leveled up on wisdom earlier, so
exactly. These days, I see that moment as a blessing, as opposed to for God's sake,
definitely
as a curse.
I agree.
Because I got this from Ryan Kingsland, who's a really cool artist and a really cool teacher as well. And he says, learn to love struggle. So it means, so if you're struggling, it means that you're pushing against your comfort zone. You're pushing against your boundary. It means that by the end of this, you will come out better. So that's the first thing. So as much as it sucks that you're struggling with, you don't know how to get this done. Good. It's because that you are going to, as long as you follow through with it, you are going to learn how to overcome that barrier so that the next time you do something either similar or related to it, the next time you'll be able to have such a better mindset of how you're going to approach it.
I think recognize that desire and burn as well. If you want to go on and do more and be better, recognize that that's a good thing because that's what you want to do. It's not that you've hit a wall because you can't be bothered anymore. You've hit a wall because you want to get to the next phase. But sometimes the next phase, where you've given a month for one phase, the next phase might be 3-4. And you're not used to that because you've just done a 1 month phase. So you need to balance the time of hit the wall, hit the struggle, work through that and get to the other side. But recognize that that's actually, like you said, a good place to be because you want to get better, which is why you're frustrated.
Absolutely.
Kind of last question because time is ticking. February. Do you have one for February? If yes, great. If not, why not?
Yes, and it's to finish the 3D sculpture that I've made of myself. And I'm actually might turn around and if I've got the time, I might actually say finish the 3D sculpture of my head, but then also finish the 3D building of the rest of my body as well. So by the end of February, I'll have like a high resolution face, the basic shapes of my body because I could do high resolution sculpture of my hands and my feet and everything else, but I'm not sure that it is entirely relevant. What I might do is I might actually do the important parts, so hands, feet, maybe getting certain details right for the sake of experience of so next time I have to make like a 3D sculpture of a person, I'll have already done it, so I'll be that little bit quicker. But I think, so like I said, it'll be like a full body 3D of myself, keeping in mind that I will probably I'll be taking that 3D model and adding things on top of it and making changes to it. So
and keep in mind we're already 8 days into February.
Exactly, yeah. So. So I've got the idea that not only February but also maybe March and April as well.
Continuing it on, building different. But then you got started in January. You started the process in January, and now you're invested enough that you want to continue that project, which is how it should and is good to be.
But now I'm taking that even further because I'm in the mindset that I want to do this. I want to follow this line of inquiry through the rest of 2020.
Nice.
For example, which would mean maybe I'm actually going to see if I can rig it and animate the character so I can start making like full 3D rendering productions. Nice. And just getting used to the whole idea of 3D rendering in its entirety. So that was actually going to be my question to you. So having all of this in mind of what you've done in January, what are you planning on doing for 2020, which is going to be, so picking a monthly challenge, what is it all building up to? Is it all building up to something?
So one thing is I won't be doing a monthly challenge for the rest of the year. That's not necessarily on the cards. In the short term, February is about definitely incorporating what I learned in January into February, because my challenge for February is to create 6 core assets for the YouTube channel. So that'll be a proper intro, like a 10-second proper Simply Create intro. There'll be some, obviously, like, subscribe, animations and stuff that come up in the videos that I'll start using in all the videos. So there's a consistency about it, but obviously, again, incorporating what I learned. So that'll be short term. That's coming February, definitely. Planning has definitely already started. I haven't actually started creating it yet, but it's there. And then the longer term is actually, and another reason why I wanted to go down the animation route is because one of the things I think it complements Sam, but is to run a few more ads for Simply Create, but by them being animated ads. So we get to show off a little bit of what we can do and a little bit of our flair. And target those and get a little bit more targeted with our briefs on who we're targeting for Simply Create. And that's kind of the bigger picture. And to create, if I'm being optimistic, 3, but I'll definitely be happy with 1 digital product that is a Simply Create digital product that is kind of being sold.
Well, I think you've already mentioned a Simply Create product, which is when you mentioned you were going to make intro slides and outro slides and animations and stuff. You could
that's one of them.
You could sell that as a package to other content creators. So Or you've got
Yeah, that's one of the ideas, definitely. But I've got kind of 2 more that go alongside that I would potentially want to do as well. But whether we'll get to 3, but by the end of the year, I definitely want to have 1 up and running and people going towards. And also, Mr. Mentz mentioned it before, this Redbubble. I don't know about using Redbubble because there's another one I'm trying as well. But actually creating some, I say clothing, some assets that go along with Simply Create.
Cool.
To then be people hopefully like and can get involved with in purchasing, and it all goes to helping the company grow, hopefully.
Totally.
Okay, so leave them with what you're good at, Sam. Leave them with what did we talk about, what did we tell them, what did we told them, and when did we tell them it?
what did we told
I definitely made all those up because he always does that.
What have we told them, yeah? So, so tell them what you're going to tell them it, and tell them what you told them.
That thing.
That thing. Do you know what? I should have that on a t-shirt.
I
should have that as a tattoo.
One of our t-shirt is coming.
I should have that as a tattoo as well, because it's such a good way.
Tattoos, but yeah,
it's such a good way of approaching teaching any subject. Right. So, we started with. I mean, it was a very quick catch up, but we got right into some of the challenges that you and I were doing in January. Did we do something just before that? I think we started out right with that.
No, we jumped straight in, I think we got started.
Yeah, we jumped straight in. Then we discussed what the positives and the negatives and what we'd learned from all of that. And then I think we then sort of moved it into taking it forward. So what does this mean for us over the next month, over the next 2 months, and over the rest of 2020? And I think
yeah, that's good.
I think that sort of cliff notes it quite well. Yeah.
A couple of things just as we sign off is if you obviously like the episode or want to hear more about the episode and only caught a bit of it, then check it out on YouTube because it'll be going up on that. If you have any questions, don't forget to fire them over to us on the YouTube video. You could have now, but we didn't get too many, but that's not a problem. We will do better at telling you when we're going to go live and when the podcast is coming out soon. That is definitely one of our things that we need to get better at.
And we will put time into setting up the stream so we can just
yeah, exactly.
Get there and start.
Because we were nearly there. It's just something threw us off. And finally, stay in touch and... yeah, we basically hope you'll check out... Oh, that was what I was going to say. Suggestions for the next episode are always welcome. So ping us a DM or drop us a comment on things that you'd like us to discuss or go into more detail on. If there was one thing out of here that you could pull out and wanted us to deep dive in, let us know.
Where can we find you, Ray?
@_simplycreate_ on Instagram, on YouTube, Simply Create. Everywhere else is Simply Create, basically. Just someone took it on Instagram.
Yeah.
What about yourself? And you? Because you go and check out some of Sam's images. He's talked about his mugshot faces. He's got them up on there. And you can see some of his drawings as well, where he's talking about, growing his characters for his game and stuff. So go check them out. Where can they check you out?
At JS Taskis on everything. I actually made a point of making sure that Facebook...
Good. Well done.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, and one other one. I just made sure that everyone said @JS Taskis.
He's done well there.
A quick question: is it bad if I've got my initials and my last name in social media handles? Is that bad? I think
no.
I think 10 years ago, I'd be like, oh, I was giving out personal details, but these days
they can find you anyway.
Yeah,
I wouldn't stress when people worry. They can find you. On that note, we'll find you at the next podcast. Take it easy, have fun,
yeah,
and catch you soon. Yeah, do that thing that we don't do.
Do the thing, right?